Hello again. We're doing chapter 2 of And I Shall Be Healed. Unfortunately, YouTube can't take a long video, so I'm going to do 4 pages, I think, and then I'll do another video for the second half. So I hope you're sitting comfortably. Chapter 2, Clearing Station number 39, Allonville, France, Christmas Day, 1916. The censor's office is as quiet as a church. Nothing but the sound of paper being unfolded, lines scored out, and, every now and then, the thump of rubber as a finished letter is stamped and added to the pile for dispatch. Any reference to our location, to planned manoeuvres, or anything that might inform the enemy or affect morale is blanked out. I work steadily, concentrating on the bright, cheerful accounts of daily life, japes with the men, strict officers, and dull sermons. None of them mine so far. Yet however hard I stare at the words in front of me, I cannot get the smell of turned earth out of my nostrils, or forget the image of those crudely built coffins, steadily lowered out of the driving autumn rain into the cold, grudging earth. I cannot call them funerals. What those men got was a burial, brief, perfunctory, and unfelt, their going witnessed only by the coffin-bearers, grave-diggers, and a chaplain who stood over them as incongruous in his robes as he was detached in his mind. I buried 5 men today and hardly thought about what I was doing. I have stood at too many gravesides, and my pity is now no more than the standard issue regret for men I never knew and will never now know. Nor am I indifferent to my indifference. It grieves me that I could not give those 5 men what they deserved. Those boys should have been seen off by their loved ones. Such a small thing to expect after duty done. Instead they went alone to foreign graves, watched over by a priest who repeated a remembered text, but failed to feel the words he spoke. The line of tumuli left behind as we returned to the RAMC canteen in the gloom of this Christmas morning made a melancholy impression on me that lingers even as I go over the notes for my sermon. And now Stephen comes to mind, as he always does when this mood is on me. I miss his calmness, his clear-sighted kindness, his friendship. Alas, he is not the man he was, and I was never the friend he needed me to be. Poor Stephen. I cannot like myself when I think of him. At the CCS, the afternoons are given over to those operations that were not considered essential enough to do immediately upon a mission. The wards are free of medics, and it is my turn to do my rounds. A soldier calls to me almost as soon as I step into the ward. As I approach, my eyes scan the card above his bed. R.C., Roman Catholic. He's not one of mine. Still, he wants to talk, so in the absence of anyone else, I take a seat beside him. Private Fitzgerald, how are you feeling? Encouraged by my smile, the young man smiles back. Not too bad, sir. A bit sore. I was hit in the leg. Is it? I check his notes and answer quickly so he does not become alarmed. You still have it, Private, though I'm afraid it looks very bad. Try not to worry. They won't amputate unless it is really necessary. He nods bravely but looks away from me. This is my signal to leave. I'll let you rest. Shall I ask Father Mackenzie to come and see you in a while? Thank you, sir. 2 beds further on, I am called to by Private Armstrong. He is a man approaching 40 who likes to have a chat with me during my rounds. He came in with a dislocated elbow a few days ago, what the surgeons call a nice, easy fix. There is no reason he shouldn't be moved, and he will be on his way to a base hospital as soon as transport can be arranged. In the meantime, forced inactivity is giving him too much time to think and become fretful. Good afternoon, Private. I sit down next to the bed. Beneath thinning hair, his skull is bandaged. His face reads like a map of conflict. Old, pre-war scars stand faded against livid new stitching. The fight is out of him for the moment, however, for his right arm lies quietly in its sling. How are you feeling today? Same as ever, Armstrong grumbles through his dressings. That's supposed to be, and I haven't had a letter from my wife, and I thought it might have been forwarded here. They'll move me soon. They'll forward it on again if it comes here. I remember the letter in my pocket and wonder who can be writing to me. Personal letters are so rare amongst my daily correspondence, that this one worries me. My blood runs cold at the thought of the last letter I received. They've got him. Another 6 months till he's of age, but they don't care about things like that, do they? Those fuckers'll have him anyway. I put the letter from my mind as I realised that Armstrong was speaking to me, and shake my head slightly to clear it of distractions. What was that? Excuse my language, Mr. Ellis. Armstrong turns to me and I can see tears in his eyes. But my lad Albert, bloody gone and enlisted, ain't he? Him and a bunch of his friends, stupid little bastards, lied about their age, every one of 'em. Couldn't wait another 6 months or they'd have had to have gone, could they? Were afraid they'd miss it'd all be over by then, Vi said. Thought they'd miss all the bleeding fun. He scowls. That boy's always thought he knows best. If I could get hold of him, I'd take my belt off to him, frightening us all like that. This is the real reason for Armstrong's tears. But you should be proud of him, I tell him. Of course you're worried about him, no more than any other father about his son, but it is to your credit that he is impatient to join the fight and doesn't want to sit at home waiting to be called up. No young man wants to stay at home with the women. Better that he fights for his country with his friends. You don't know what you're talking about, Vicar. There is real anger in his voice, and I am shocked at his glare. It's easy enough for you to talk of honour and fellowship when you hide behind your good book and stay well behind the lines. You ain't seen what it's like out there, so don't you talk to me about God and country. God isn't at the front. I know what I'm talking about. I've been, and I'm telling you, I would rather Albert had a dozen white feathers in his cap than a single moment of that hell. I open my mouth to reply, but close it again. There are no words to answer this soldier's bitter reproach. My cheeks are burning, and I drop my eyes to the bedclothes, desperate to find words that will cool his anger and make things right between us again. I start as Armstrong leans over and gives my arm a gentle squeeze. I'm sorry, Mr. Ellis, he says. I know you don't mean no harm. Don't mind me, I'm just worried about the boy. Automatically I nod, and aware that a silence has grown between us, look up into Armstrong's anxious face. Is there anything I can do for you? Are there any letters you'd like me to write? No. Armstrong shakes his head. Thanks, Vicar, but like I said, I'm still waiting for Vi's. If I'm still here when it comes, I'll ask you to read it for me. I nod, smile, stand up. No one else calls to me, and with some relief I go on into the RAMC canteen to check the supplies. My hands are shaking. Armstrong's outburst reverberates in my mind, but as the shock fades, I feel frustration rise in its place. He is right, I haven't seen what it's like. I have seen nothing of the war beyond the CCS, and even though battle posts are now open to chaplains, here I am still. Why should Armstrong, or any of these men, believe that I am as desperate to go to the front as I say I am? Sometimes I turn the question on myself. Do I truly want to go? Chaplains have been working at the front since the beginning of the war. Why must I wait for an order? Is it possible that, in obeying the rules, I am simply running away again? I distract myself by concentrating on the task now in hand, and am halfway through the list of things needed when I remember the letter in my pocket and lay it on the counter in front of me. It is addressed to my previous station and has taken some time to reach me. The near illegible scrawl offers no possibility of enlightenment as to its author, but the Chichester postmark makes me anxious. I stand looking down at it. Have you got a cigarette, Mr. Ellis? The sudden voice so close makes me jump. Returning the letter to my pocket, I fish out my packet of cigarettes and toss them to the officer. Help yourself. Tar. The young man takes a cigarette and tucks it behind his ear for later, handing back the packet. You making out the list? We are both familiar with this ritual. What do you want? I wait, pen poised for the answer. Tinned fruit. The longing in the officer's voice takes me by surprise. An idea occurs to me, and I smile at my own cunning. Do you sing, Lieutenant? What? I'm looking for volunteers for the concert party on Friday. Leaning against the counter in what I hope is a casual manner, I smooth out the list in front of me. Know any songs? To my surprise, the young man blushes a deep red. Well, yes. I mean, I know the songs me and the lads sing, but I couldn't sing them in front of you. Well, I promise not to listen. Struggling not to laugh, I write the lieutenant's name in my notebook. I'll see what I can do about the tinned fruit. As I work my way through the stores, a group of gunners appear. They are in celebratory mood. A German plane has just been shot down, and they are full of how the gunner waited until the last possible moment to open fire. Thought they'd got away with it, one jeers. Then bam! The wing clipped a hut and the crate flipped over. Cartwheeled down the field till it couldn't go any further. It stuck there in the mud like a windmill. Then whoosh! Up in flames, both of them dead. Serves them right, the dirty Boche. Gradually they calm down and become aware of me. They draw closer, crowding in with their chorus of requests, each item shouted for more loudly than the last. As a new chaplain, this barracking terrified me, but now I am ready for them. In return for my best efforts to secure chocolate and toothpaste, my concert party gains a risque monologue and a flautist. That's the end of the first part. I'll be back.